everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Now today's video is a collection of hints, tips, tricks and things to think about to help you avoid being scammed when buying precious metals, whether that be gold, silver, platinum, whatever it might be. In any turbulent time throughout history, there have always been an uptick in the number of scams and scammers out there who are out to steal your hard-earned cash. And unfortunately, the bullion industry, silver and gold, are ones that get targeted because it's a high cash flow type business and people want to buy it. It's becoming more and more on the forefront of a lot of people's minds, new and seasoned stackers alike. And a lot of people out there, they want the cheapest price. So they'll go onto their computers, they'll Google cheap bullion, they'll find a really great looking website, but it turns out to be a complete scam. So I want to today talk about some of the things that I would look at, I do, and think about when I'm looking to buy my gold and silver, some of the tips, hints and tricks to protect yourself as a buyer. Now, this video has been inspired by me seeing a bit of an uptick in the number of threads over on the Silver Forum and general conversations on social media about potentially fake dealers and the fact that they might be scams. Not going to name names of companies because until things have kind of been really proven without doubt, it always opens up this kind of war of slander and all of this jazz. And I just don't have time in my life for anything like that. But I would highly recommend, as a very good place to start, the Silver Forum, because there are countless number of reviews and things that people have written about different dealers, and the established dealers alike will have a lot of positive reviews. They'll also have some negative ones, and negative ones we will talk about in a bit. And the negative one isn't always necessarily an indicator that you should not use a bullion dealer. Sometimes it's actually a really good indication that they are a dealer that is genuine rather than a fake. So lots of things to consider about reviews. That is the first thing I really want to talk about. Reviews are really, really important. Now, if you go onto Google and you just look at cheap silver bullion and you Google it and you find all of these different companies. In the UK, you might find all of these adverts for VAT-free silver from various companies in Europe. Look at the reviews. Make sure that you jump on Trustpilot, see if there's any reviews there, various other social media platforms, even here on YouTube. Look for unboxing videos. Look for multiple sources of people who have purchased from these companies and had things physically delivered. That is always a really good place to start. But please, please, please take those reviews and videos with a pinch of salt, because there are a lot of fake reviews out there. And one of the best ways to actually scam somebody is to give them false confidence, so to make them think that they are looking at something that is trustworthy. Now, there are many ways that people can fake reviews. I personally think that that's very hard to do across multiple platforms. So if you are going to go down the route of looking at various different reviews and Trustpilot, make sure you look at all of the different sources that could be available out there. There's loads on social media. There'll be stories. If there are people who have been scammed before, they're likely to have spoken up. They are likely to have come onto various platforms, forums, news, whatever it might be, and talk about it. So do a in-depth search if you're going to do a review-based decision. Make sure you go through more than the first page of Google, because sometimes you might find things further down in the Google searches. You can also do specific keyword searches on Google. Don't just Google silver cheap bullion companies. Make sure that you actually Google the company and find out more information about them. See if they are legit. See if they have been trading for a long time, because if they are registered as a limited company, they will have that history behind them. You are able to find them. It's really, really important to do. If you are sticking to the big platforms you can buy from bullion dealers on eBay, for example, then that's a great place as well to look at feedback, to see the history there. If you're buying from private individuals through places like the forum, that's a really important place to have a good measure of feedback. So always, always, always look at those feedbacks. Trust with a pinch of salt, but you can genuinely trust with those search results if you do a multitude of them. Now, that is not foolproof though, because as I said, there are a lot of companies that will actually have significant resources put to one side to try and convince you that they are all legit and above board. And a lot of that can actually happen without really you knowing. They could have lots of various different fake social media profiles. So relying on other people is really key. Get onto forums, get onto the Silver Forum, ask questions. If you've seen something that looks great, fantastic price point, ask on the forum, does that make sense? Is that right? Can somebody be selling an ounce of gold at 90% of spot price? those are the kind of questions that you should be asking yourself. That's bringing me on to sort of my next topic, which is, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. At the end of the day, businesses are there to make money, and if they are selling things that are cheaper than spot price, or they're selling things which are significantly cheaper than other companies out there on the market, then that is, in my head, an indication that something is not quite right. Now, that doesn't mean that the new company on the block goes around and looks to undercut everybody to try and get business. That's perfectly fine, but there might well be ulterior motives involved with that. So it could be that you are enticed in, and then you get flooded with bombardment of mail that you don't want and advertising that you don't want, or your personal details are sold on to a third party, whether legally or unscrupulously as well. So there's lots of really important things to consider from that side of things. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And you should, I should have said this at the start, you should do a lot of what we're talking about in today's video, all in conjunction with each other. So you should make sure that you are looking at all of these pictures and putting them together to make one great big canvas, so to speak, because there's going to be a multitude of different things which are important in your decision-making process. Now, in terms of physical delivery, now, of course, one of the big problems that a lot of people have at the moment coping with is the fact that there are lead times on a lot of the silver and gold that you might want to purchase. And what I mean by that is there are delays from various mints, and you'll see it all over the place on lots of dealers' websites. The dealer of choice I use, the European Mint, been using them for an awful long time. They sometimes can have a 4 or 5 week delay on some of the items that they have listed for sale. Now, there's an interesting debate that goes on whether or not a dealer should even list something that they don't physically have in their possession. I'm on the fence that I think that's fine for them to do that. They have supply contracts in place with these big mints, and the big distributors from these mints usually are accredited or have been through some form of approval process. So if you are unsure and you see, say on somebody's website, they say official Royal Mint distributor or Perth Mint approved distributor, get in contact with the Royal Mint or Perth Mint and ask, is this company legit? Do you work with them? That is definitely something that you can do. Now, the delay that comes with a lot of these orders right now is an important distinction to have, because there are some companies, whether they're small or large, that will have these delays, and it might seem like, oh God, I've been scammed, I've not got my silver. But if you keep in contact with that company and you ensure that they know who you are and why you're getting in touch, then that is a good thing. And it's a good indication if they are replying, if they're responsive. If somebody you can get on the phone, for example, is being responsive, then that is a good indication that they are a legit company. A scammer, they just want to take your money and they run. Most of the time, it's a very deep scam sometimes to, they're playing the long game if they're trying to give you a certain amount of business, selling you a certain amount of silver that you then go and put a $50,000 order in or something, and then they run away with your money. That's the long game, which just doesn't happen in the real world. I'm not saying it couldn't, but it just doesn't, it's not likely. So ensure that they are real by getting in touch with them. So if you've seen a company advertising something that perhaps looks a really good price point, get in touch with them, ask them, is this genuine? Ring them up, see if somebody answers. See what their response times are like for email inquiries. A lot of these companies, they will be busy, so they will maybe not reply immediately, but you'll be surprised at some of them which really do reply as soon as possible. And I think it's really important to do that. It does instill a significant amount of trust, and it's all about that buyer experience. If you can have that confidence, if you can actually get that information out of the company that you want quickly, and what's happening with my order, what's the status with my order, any updates on the estimated delivery of my order, those kind of questions, if you get answers to them quickly, that's a really good indication that a company is legitimate. Now, the next little thing that I want to talk about is payment methods. Now, payment methods is, I think, probably really important to help protect you. It's, of course, a little bit secondary, because often when you get to this point of payment methods, you are there once you've made the decision to buy and you've actually committed to the purchase. So really, it should be coming later in this video like I am doing right now, because once you've made that buying decision, it doesn't necessarily mean you've made the right decision. There could well be still a scam at play, and it's very rare that a lot of the things that we've talked about already, if you go out and you research a company, you look at the company, you look online, you see all of the different feedback, and you've talked with somebody on the end of the phone, and you've emailed, and you've got everything up in mind, you've researched the company and everything, it could still be a scam. it could still be a scam. So to protect yourself from that, there's a few things that you can do. Paying by cryptocurrencies is probably the worst thing that you can do. It's just so, yes, you can trace them and transaction history it, but you're not going to get your cash back anytime soon. There's a reason the criminal underground uses Bitcoin, and it's dot for easy access of refunds. Credit cards and debit cards, credit cards specifically, are the way to go. Now, unfortunately, a lot of dealers out there will charge you extra for your credit card to be used, and often they'll give you price point discounts if you pay by bank's transfer, or they'll whack on an extra fee if you're paying by debit or credit card. But perhaps for the very first purchase from a new supplier, a new company that you have not used before, that would be an advisable thing to do, because it gives you so much protection. A credit card is by far and away the best protection any consumer can have when making a purchase, whether it be precious metals or anything. You do need to check with your card provider, because in certain countries, some companies, some credit card companies might view buying bullion as essentially a cash transaction on your credit card, in which case you'll have obviously a much higher rate of interest. But a lot of credit cards these days will have zero interest for the first 30 days. Make your payment, pay off the credit card bill immediately. It won't cost you any interest, just might cost you a little bit more, but that little bit more is for peace of mind from the company. And that brings me on to my last point here. It is not always about the cheapest price out there. I get asked this an awful lot of times because, and I'll be quite honest and frank here. So we have done group unboxings on our channel for, gosh, what, three years now, something like that. And we've used a variance of different companies. We've used one in Belgium called goldsilver.be, and then we started using the European Mint. Now, the clear reason why we swapped over to the European Mint was, at the time, a combination of prices and also a combination of just general confidence in customer service. I had physically gone and met the people in Estonia from the European Mint, and I just felt more comfortable using them. It doesn't mean that goldsilver.be is a bad company. There's enough written online about those for you guys to go and make up your own minds and own decisions. All I'll say is that I have used them in the past, and I will probably continue to use them for certain items. But it is always about making the right decision for you, and that is not always about the cheapest offering of silver or gold out there. There are a lot of cheap silver websites, and those are the risk factors. If you have an established dealer that isn't really competing with the marketplace, that in my mind is a good thing. It's a good indicator that they're a legit company. If somebody's putting 75% spot price for their metals, then that's an indicator to me that they are trying to scam. If they've put really low prices out there, that they're trying to compete with their compete to get customers, that in my mind is not necessarily a great thing. And that would be where I then start the additional due diligence, so to speak, of making sure that what we have and see is correct. So there's an awful lot to think about. It's not always about the right price point. And that is, I guess, where I want to finish with today's video, because yes, you can buy silver perhaps for 10 pence per ounce cheaper from this dodgy looking company that you don't know anything about. Great, you've saved, you buy 100 coins, you've saved yourself £1 or £10 or, however much you want to save. That's fantastic. But it does come with that additional risk. If you're buying from an established, well-respected bullion dealer, whether that be in your country or internationally, that for me is the bigger peace of mind. And that is why companies who charge more than other companies out there still have business and still do business. And don't get me wrong, these companies probably could charge less, but at the same time, they offer a level of service which is different to some of these other companies. And we'll go back to my example of goldsilver.be in Belgium. I personally don't mind the fact that you pretty much can't get replies to emails. I don't mind the fact that sometimes you'll place an order, you won't be told for 3, 4, 5 weeks any status updates on your order, and you won't be able to get an update, because I know eventually it will come. But for some people, that really irks them, and not being able to get an answer can make them really worried. And that I really do. So I personally will go to somewhere like the European Mint, which at the moment might be a little bit more expensive for certain items, but that peace of mind is just so valuable to me and to other people that it cannot be ignored. And that's it from me today. Thank you all for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please put a thumbs up on it and share it around on your social media. And let me know your thoughts, tips, hints and tricks down in that comment section. It'd be really great to hear from all of you. Otherwise, that's it from me today. Thank you one and all for watching. Have a very pleasant week and we'll see you on the next one. Please make sure that you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.